Find an equation for the ellipse with foci f and f prime that passes through P, and sketch the ellipse. Well, the first thing we're going to need to know is what the major axis length is. And we see that from foci to foci is a total of 8 units. But given that that's 8 units, doesn't necessarily tell us exactly what the length of the major axis is. What we can use, though, to find that is the fact that this 7 plus this 3 gives us 2a, which is where a is the length of the major axis. So 2a must be 7 plus 3, or 10, meaning that a is 5. Another way you could see that is to say, well, if that's 7 and 10, and this point P is supposed to be on the ellipse, then that ellipse is going to come around and intersect at a point somewhere on the x-axis at the vertex along the major axis. And as that point moves, this distance here will remain 10. So actually the distance from there back to the foci, focus point, that has to remain 10. That's the definition or defining characteristic of an ellipse. So if that's to remain 10, then you can see that there would be 8 units to here, and then to go back and forth would take another 2 units to make up the total of 10. That's 8 plus 2 would give us 10. And so if that's 8 out to here, and we have to go 1 unit there, 1 unit back, then we must go 1 unit beyond the 4 to get to the vertex. Well, that's 5. So either way we look at it, the vertex will be 5, 0. And I guess I'll call V prime the vertex on the other end. That'll be negative 5, 0. But a is what we really need in order to find the equation for the ellipse. So if that's a, then we know about the ellipse is it's centered at 0, 0, so we can write x squared over 5 squared, or 25, plus y squared over b squared will equal 1. And what we need to know is the value of b. We can find that a couple of different ways. We could use the fact that we know c equals 4. C is the distance from the origin to a focal point, and therefore we can write c squared equals a squared minus b squared. We know c and we know a, so we could solve for b. We can do that. Let's do that real quick. So that would give me 16 equals 25. A is 5, so a squared is 25 minus b squared. And so b squared is equal to 25 minus 16, which is 9. So b is equal to 3, and that implies then that our ellipse's equation is x squared over 25 plus y squared over 9 equals 1. That would answer the question without doing any other thinking. But if you wanted to see another way to do it, we could suppose P moved to here and consider this triangle. Draw that a little darker for you. So that triangle has a base of 4, and since the total sum of these two distances has to be 10, and the symmetry in the ellipse means that each part has to be 5, then that is telling me a little bit about the triangle that's formed here. In fact, it must be a 3, 4, 5 right triangle. And so we could see that p equals 3 another way in this case without too much work. So there we go. There's the answer to the question. The ellipse has that equation.